All right, y'all. So on CNN, Harry Enton decided to do a segment here about AOC 2028 and what that could potentially look like. And he's got a surprising takeaway, and this is not something you would have heard 2 years ago, 3 years ago, 4 years ago. The political landscape has shifted quite a bit. And he's got some knowledge to drop on us here, so let's listen.
When Bernie Sanders first ran for the presidency about a decade ago, I just think it's just such a tectonic shift within the Democratic electorate. Okay, early choices for the Dem presidential nominee back in June of 2014. Look, Hillary Clinton was way ahead of everybody with 69%. Bernie Sanders was like in 9th or 10th place with just 2%.
That's so crazy that in June 2014, Bernie was at 2% and Hillary was at 69%. God damn, Bernie was at 2%. And I believe he wound up getting, I forget the exact number. It was either like 43% or 45% or 47%. But he ended up with like roughly that percentage of the vote. That's crazy, bro. That's a surge from fucking nowhere.
Look at where we are right now in September of 2025. Look how much closer AOC is to the top now than Bernie Sanders was back a decade ago. She's at 12%, so she has 6 times his amount of support. But more than that, look how much closer she is to the leader. Gavin Newsom leads the field right now, but just with 21%. She is within 10 points of Gavin Newsom. I never thought I would have seen the day when someone as liberal as Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez is to the leader. She's 9 points back as opposed to what? 67 points back Bernie Sanders was a decade ago at this point?
This shit is wide open, bro. It's adorable how CNN at this late date still doesn't even understand the difference between liberal and leftist. To them, leftist just means that you are very liberal. Like that's, it's how people talked about politics in like 2008, right? Like it's just very, I don't know, it's adorable. Like they're so far behind the times, they don't even understand like the terminology that's used now. Anyway, it's wide open. That's my takeaway from this. I mean, yes, AOC absolutely has a shot, but also it's wide the fuck open. You could have somebody at 0% now who comes out, and in the same way Trump broke the Republican Party and barnstormed through, I could easily see that happening on the Democratic side now. In fact, I think it's likely to happen like that.
If we thought Bernie Sanders was a long shot back in June of 2014, at this particular point, AOC has a very real shot, at least according to the early numbers that we see so far.
I can't believe it's been 10 years. That's what's freaking me out.
Facts. Preach. Oh my God, it's been a fucking decade since Bernie ran in 2016. It's been almost a decade. Oh my God. I'm telling you, bro, I'm 37 years old, but like once you get to like 32-ish, once you get around 32, you actually start feeling old. Like you'll think of some shit like, oh, that was recently. And it's like, homie, that was 16 years ago. Like, what are you talking about?
So what about Democrats themselves and how they see a supposed outsider now?
Yeah, so, it's not just what we see on the top line. It's when we go underneath, right? And we're looking at what's underneath the numbers. And okay, Democrats who say that their party leaders should be replaced. If you want an outsider, this is your time. This is your time. This is not what we were looking at a decade ago. Get this, 62% of Democrats say their party leaders should be replaced compared to just 24% who say no. You go back at the beginning of the Donald Trump presidency, the majority of Democrats said their party leaders were taking the party in the right direction. That is not the case anymore.
By the way, that is the biggest difference right here. And that's also why when we launched Justice Democrats, we missed our window. People weren't where we were yet, right? They weren't where we were. Like, bro, we need a revolution. We need left-wing Democrats to come in here and show the way because these centrists are not fucking doing it right. They're too pro-establishment, et cetera, et cetera. People just weren't there yet. The base wasn't there yet. Now they're there. Now they're there. They're all fucking there, just waiting. Like, yes, somebody do a Tea Party of the left.
Dealing with a party base that wants to throw out the old and bring in the new, and a party base that, as we've spoken about on this program before, is at its apex in terms of how liberal it is, with the majority of Democrats now saying that they are liberal, which is very different from where we were a decade ago when the majority of Democrats said that they were either moderate or conservative. What we're talking about is a Democratic electorate that may very well be in the mood to embrace someone like Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez.
Speaking of which, she could, if she doesn't go for the presidency, she could run against someone in leadership, Chuck Schumer.
Honestly, that's what I think she should do. I think she should, because I think she would absolutely obliterate Chuck Schumer. It looks like she is going to run in 2028, but the question is she going to run for president or is she going to run for the Senate? And I think she should do Senate because we need somebody like her in the Senate. And we need also, like, honestly, we need a scalp to show, like, hey, Democratic establishment, it's fucking on now. You bend to our will. We don't bend to your will anymore, okay? And Chuck Schumer is known as the weakest of the weak leaders. And so for AOC to take out somebody like Chuck Schumer would send quite an amazing message. And it would make it clear to people like Hakeem Jeffries, right? You already see people like Richie Torres. He's desperately trying to, backtrack from what his whole fucking career has been, which is sucking off Israel and fucking, being a right-wing corporate Democrat. He's desperately trying to go in the other direction because he had to wake up from the Zohran Mamdani win in the New York City Democratic primary for mayor. And so I think if you take out somebody like Chuck Schumer, that sends a huge message. And also, I mean, you guys know, my ideal for president would be John Stewart. So I'd like to see John Stewart run, and I think if he were to run, I think he'd win relatively comfortably.
What does that look like? And considering this, I'm going to make an assumption, but I'll let you show us the numbers.
I think that assumption you're going to make is correct. If she doesn't go for the top job, maybe she wants to go for the guy who has the top job, at least on the Democratic side in the United States Senate. And take a look here. Net favorable among New York Democrats. Look at this difference. Look at this difference. The net favorable rating for Ocasio-Cortez among New York Democrats, plus 46 points. Compare that to Chuck Schumer, who's only at plus 16 points. She is running 30 points ahead of Chuck Schumer, the Democratic leader in the United States Senate, among her and his constituents here in the state of New York. My goodness gracious. What we are talking about is if Ocasio-Cortez decides, you know what, I don't want to run for president. I want to challenge Chuck Schumer in a 2028 Democratic primary for United States Senate. These numbers suggest that that primary challenge could be very, very real. And a lot of the numbers I'm seeing right now suggest she would actually be a favorite at this point if she, in fact, decides to take on Chuck Schumer. Again, this is a guy who was first elected to the United States Senate back in 1998, and now she's got a real chance to knock him off. What we're talking about is new days are here, especially for the very liberal part of the Democratic Party. It is their time to shine, at least if we're looking at the data.
30 points is a huge lead if that stays in place. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, so, I mean, you can't overcome that. Schumer's plus 16 among Democrats in New York. AOC is plus 46. And I think the reason is simple. I think people look at Schumer and they see a dino, a Democrat in name only. And they look at AOC and they say, well, here's somebody who's speaking up. Here's somebody who's attacking Trump. Here's somebody who's correct on the issues. And I mean, that's the era now, right? Like, we want you to stand out. We want you to fight. And we want you to be unapologetic in your policy beliefs. We don't want this bullshit, mealy-mouthed negotiation, bipartisanship, hold hands and sing kumbaya, fucking bend the knee. Sell out to your corporate donors. We don't fucking want that. We don't want that. And so it's all there. If she were to run, she would have a real chance. She would have a legitimate chance to win, even for president. Never mind fucking for the Senate. I'd go as far as to say the Senate she's fucking chewing. I'd go as far as to say that. Even with him raising more money from Wall Street and shit like that, which he would do, she could go right to the small dollar donors and blow his ass out of the water, bro. I don't think there's any overcoming what these numbers look like. People underestimate how pissed off the Democratic base was when Schumer cucked himself and bent the knee and helped out Trump with that continuing resolution. People, the base was like, oh, it's like that? And just overnight, boom, everybody was like, he's got to go. Now you have people running as Democrats around the country, and they're saying, I don't think Schumer should be our leader. That's unheard of. Usually, you try to snuggle up to the current Democratic leadership. No, people are saying, I don't like him there. So there's a sea change happening. There is a sea change happening. But again, if the numbers for AOC look this promising, every Democratic primary poll for 2028 should fucking mention John Stewart, right? And John Stewart should get out there and start mentioning it more. I mean, what do we have to do to get him to run? That's my question for you guys. What will it take? Do you guys want to fucking clip out this video and send it to him? Look, John, I'm appealing directly to you. I hope you're listening. I hope you're watching. I hope you care. The bottom line is, I know you probably don't want this, but your country needs this, okay? The bottom line is we're in a new political era, and that new political era is built around the fact that we have entertainment brain, right? We have short fucking attention spans. Everybody wants entertainment 24/7, which is why Trump was able to come along and break the Republican Party and become the leader of the Republican Party and become president multiple times. It's because he's charismatic. He's an entertainer. He understands TV. Well, you are effectively the Trump of the left. You're actually entertaining, charismatic, funny, not afraid to go there, but also you know how to fucking fight, and more importantly, you're correct on the issues. Basically, if you run and you win, what we're doing is we're marrying the politics of Bernie Sanders, the policies of Bernie Sanders, with the fucking charisma and fighting ability of somebody like Trump. And that's what we need. I'm sorry, a lot of these Democratic politicians, they're very politician-y. They're very inauthentic. It's very it's hard to even listen to them when they talk. It's easy to listen to you when you talk, bro. It is easy. And so again, I know you don't want it. I wouldn't want it either, but we need it. The country needs it. And I think, I know it's insane to say, but I think you'd win easy. Who can go toe-to-toe with John Stewart when it comes to wits, right? Who can go toe-to-toe with him when it comes to charisma? The guy knows how to talk. The guy's right on the politics. He's actually more well-versed on the substantive issues than even most politicians. I mean, it's fucking obvious, but AOC has a real chance in 2028 for president, but I think she should run for the Senate. And I think John Stewart should run for president in 2028 and show everybody the way. That would be amazing. That I would, oh my God. I'm dreaming. A boy can dream. A boy is dreaming right now. It would be amazing. That's the show, y'all. I love y'all very much. Thank you for listening. As always, you guys know the drill. You can click that subscribe button below me here, and that helps out massively. It helps spread the videos through the algorithm, which helps grow the show. So I really appreciate that. If you subscribe, you click that bell icon to get a notification every time a video drops. You can also support the show on Patreon. Remember, I'm true independent media here. Never talked to an advertiser, never done an ad read, never talked to a billionaire or anything like that. I'm very proud of what we've built, and you guys have made that possible with your $2 per month donations, $5 per month donations. That really means the world. So thank you, by the way, to everybody who does support on Patreon. Couldn't do it without you guys. Thank you to everybody who tips on YouTube with the thanks button as well. And you guys can support Crystal Kyle and Friends on Substack. That link is below. And go sub to the Corns World YouTube channel. We try to do live Kyle and Corns every Monday at 8:30. You guys can come hang out with us. And that's all I got for you guys, man. I'll talk to you next time. Everybody have a great rest of your day. Hey, y'all, do me a favor and like and subscribe. It helps out big time in the algorithm. Click the bell as well for notifications when videos drop. And watch that video on screen right now. You know you want to.